they're in some salary cap constrictions right now. They're $4 million under the salary cap. We know they're going to free up some space here probably this month with a trade of a quarterback who I'm not sure what his name is. I can't remember that one. But
It's a head scratcher.
yeah, how do you think the 49ers are going to go about freeing up cap space to not only sign with get under the cap, but also to re-sign the players from their own roster and possibly add some new guys from free agency?
Yeah, I mean, you hit on the reason the 49ers need to do it. They are over the cap as it stands right now. They will trade that quarterback to be named Jimmy Garoppolo at some point, but he won't come off of the books until they've actually entered the new league year. And they do need to get beneath that salary cap before the start of the new league year, which is March 16th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so they have a few options, as far as I understand it, as to how they get under there. The biggest piece of money that's going to get moved is the Jimmy Garoppolo trade. But again, that won't happen until after the deadline. So it looks like they will have to either get one of their players to take a pay cut, and there aren't very many options there, and that's not a very ideal scenario anyway. But they do have the options for restructures. And a phenomenal resource for those that don't know it, a gentleman by the name of Jason runs 49erscap.com. I went there and pulled the numbers of the four most likely candidates to get extended and therefore get restructured in this one: Kittle, Trent Williams, Armstead, or Jimmy Ward. Those look like the most likely scenarios for the 49ers to free up some of that cap space.
Yeah, that's definitely, they're going to have to make some moves there to do that. Of the group that you said there, Eric Armstead is easily the first one I think that you look at, because he has a cap hit of about $20 million. You can save about 12, I believe it is, or something. You can save quite a bit of money just by extending him to the max of what it's available there. So Eric Armstead would be one. Another one would be Jimmy Ward. Ward has a cap hit of 12.9. You could convert almost $7.8 million of his salary cap into signing bonus. So that's what you're freeing up there. So between Armstead and Ward, you're looking at being able to save about $18 million in addition on the cap. And then beyond that, you have guys like Samson Ebukam, Emmanuel Mosley, who you could potentially go out and extend them. Ebukam's a good player that played really well for the 49ers over the second half of the season once they put him into the starting lineup. So you could extend his contract out a little bit, which would lower his number. He's due to make over $6 million on the cap this year, $6.5 million, or excuse me, 8.2. And then you have Emmanuel Mosley as well. And Mosley's the one that's at 6.5. So if you extend Mosley out, again, those two guys are going to, could buy you, another $4 to what, 10 million, $4 to $8 million in cap space, depending on how you maneuver those around. And then one other one that I'll throw out there that I don't think it's going to get done, but it could possibly be done, would be Mike McGlinchey as well. McGlinchey's out there. His contract is $10.8 million this year, and it's fully guaranteed. So that's another one that you could get into a long-term contract. But the issue with McGlinchey is the torn quad, and so that makes that one really iffy.
Yeah, if I'm going through those and prioritizing them, I'm with you that Mike McGlinchey, to me, there's just too much risk involved at this point in time. I think I'm letting him play out on that fifth-year option. But I've got my eyes all over Eric Armstead, Jimmy Ward, the extensions for Emmanuel Mosley, and Samson Ebukam, because it is my firm belief, Jack, that the Niners need to prioritize bringing back their own. And in order to do that, they're going to need to free up some pretty significant cap space to re-sign some of those free agents that they have available. If they're going to get Laken Tomlinson back onto the team, they're going to need to free up some considerable cap space to do that. So I would target all four of those if I'm the Niners. I'm just not sure I want to target Kittle and Trent Williams contracts just yet. You got to keep something in reserve for next year when you say to yourself, oh, how do we clear out some cap space?
Yeah, because once you get rid of Garoppolo, you're going to be at about $19 million if that's all you do.
Right.
And then those other moves could get you into the ballpark where you're able to, if you just run through the numbers, you're re-signing all of your restricted free agents and your exclusive rights free agents. Those are a number of which are guys who are key contributors or were key
Yes.
contributors in 2021. And then it'll also, I think their draft as it stands right now is only going to be about $8 million. I think it's under $8 million for their full draft load that they
That's
have.
the advantage of not having that first round pick.
Right. They've already spent it, right? They spent it last year and it's going to, so that could be a good thing. So I think they're in a decent spot. It's just going to be interesting to watch how they restructure. And you had mentioned Kittle. That's one I think that they could do, but probably, maybe push that off to next year when it starts to become a little bit bigger of a number that you have to worry about. Because this number is not that big, I don't believe, this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I would wait to do that deal. And I would bring back all of those exclusive rights free agents that you mentioned: JaMychal Hasty, Jawan Jennings, Colton McKivitz, Kevin Givens, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, the restricted free agents. I also believe that the 49ers will be able to work some of those smaller deals like they did last year to avoid actually tendering any of those restricted free agents, that they may be able to work out a multi-year deal with Alshire instead of having to tender him with that second round tender that would cost them a pretty considerable first year cap number.
Correct. And so there's definitely ways that they can get around to it. So that's going to be, it'll be fun to watch how that plays out, because it's definitely going to be happening